Greetings, travelers, and welcome to episode 46 of WesteroScraft Walks with your loyal host, Dutchguard. It's been a long time coming, but here we are with part 2 of the Eyrie, and we'll be looking at the Vale and the Gates of the Moon in this episode. We're here where we left off at the Bloody Gate. If you haven't seen that video, just click here to take a look at it, and we talk a little bit about how it was built and the history behind it. And in this video, we're going to be checking out the scenery of the Vale and heading into the Gates of the Moon, which is the start of the Eyrie. Some of you pointed out that I shouldn't really call this series the Eyrie because we're going through parts of the Vale, and the Vale is sort of the name of one of those 7 regions of Westeros. So this is more of a general population kind of area. It's not actually part of the castle or the castle grounds. Anyway, so we're going to head along here. You can see the start of a forest there in the distance. I pre-rendered this. It's 16 chunks, and I don't think I can get much bigger than that, but I just wanted to get the best view possible, as close to the canon view that you get from when you come out of the Bloody Gate, because apparently when you go through the Bloody Gate, you're greeted by this awe-inspiring landscape of the Vale stretching out ahead of you all the way to the narrow sea. So we're just heading along this winding path, which is quite typical for the Vale, for traveling up and down its mountains. You can see some precarious rock formations there overhead. All very carefully thought out terraforming, just like this huge ravine here, with this little stream running through it. That's part of the details mentioned in the books. That's something we added, was something we had to build by hand. In our older versions of the Vale, and yeah, I think this is maybe the 3rd or even the 4th version of the Vale and the Eyrie that we've built. We didn't have all the details we'd liked, so again, as I explained in my previous video, we had to re-terraform and re-world paint the whole area just to get it right, just to get all these details in, and it's definitely paid off. As you can see, just the beautiful mountain slopes here with the greenery. You can hear some of the water trickling around me that are the beginnings of the Great Lakes and streams and rivers that run through the Vale and make it such a picturesque region of Westeros. And of course we've got here all these trees, these coniferous trees, which are, trees that are listed as being in the Vale and populating the Vale. I think we've got loads of other different trees as well. We'll start to see more of those as we head along down here. And it's just beautiful. I mean, it's supposed to be the jewel of Westeros, I think anyway. It's a beautiful area. It's surrounded by mountains, so it's very peaceful. I mean, you've really only got the mountain clans to worry about, but even then, they're pretty easy to repel. Yeah, just walking down here, you can see some of the rock formations, the mountains. You can see the Bloody Gate all the way back up there, and even the mountain peaks all the way at the top there. I mean, look how high up that is. I mean, that's why we had to re-terraform this to be, I think even now we're below water level, just in order to create the illusion of scale there. I mean, look at those mountain peaks all the way in the distance. It looks pretty realistic. Just wait till we get to the Giant's Lance, which is, of course, the mountain that the castle of the Eyrie sits upon. So this region of Westeros was originally settled by the Andals, or by the First Men, rather. It was first really sort of developed by the Andals, but the First Men who were here were pretty much kind of barbarians, and they sort of had their own king of the mountain and things like that, and they were sort of recluses. And then when the Andals landed in the Fingers, so this was the first region of Westeros that the Andals settled on and drove the First Men out of. And it was, of course, for that reason, one of the most pious regions of Westeros. Yeah, there's definitely no weirwoods anywhere in Westeros. The Eyrie, which I think did exist during the time of the First Men, did attempt to have a weirwood, and we'll get more on that when we actually get to the Eyrie. But yeah, today we're going to focus more on Gates of the Moon, which is a much newer structure than the Eyrie, which was built by the Arryns, who are descended from the Andals. Yeah, that's a much newer structure, and I don't know when we're going to get there, but in the meantime, just enjoy the scenery. Just beautiful wilderness, and, this is something that you can't get with, random map generation. This is all, hand-planted, painted forest and brush and underbrush and bushes and all that stuff. And it's just fun to explore, and we've sort of wound these roads around to sort of, again, give the illusion of distance and the illusion of space that we can otherwise wouldn't be able to give you on a map of our scale. Alright, so we're heading into our first village here. I don't believe this village has a name, but it's one of the villages that is mentioned in the books en route to the Eyrie. And the whole Vale is dotted with villages like this. Little farming hamlets, usually near a body of water. We can see sort of, I think that's a river over there. And not even just Vale style, but just typical country house style, daub and wattle, thatched roofs, sort of your standard fare. Closed, hanging to dry outside, and we've got a nice little kitchen in here, a chicken bleeding out from the ceiling, and a crate of onions, or turnips, actually. Yeah, so fairly standard style. I'm actually really glad that we sort of nailed this style with our custom blocks. I think it just looks really good, really realistic, and really harkens onto the sort of medieval style that you might see in our real history, as well as what you might see in the Game of Thrones television series. Maybe a bit nicer than that. To be honest, I think we go for a little more high fantasy than what the producers over at HBO are going for, but I think it just looks nicer that way, and it lends itself more to the Minecraft style and the textures. We've got another little kitchen in here. Again, making use of all those beautiful blocks, and you might see some more flowers around here. Again, it's very peaceful. Like, these people here haven't seen war, perhaps ever. And definitely not the people who are still alive here now in the present timeline. Never seen war, maybe some, civil strife, but other than that, always lived in peaceful happiness. We've got some nice pumpkin fields here. More squash fields, not really sure. We've got, of course, lots of corn and wheat being grown as well in this area. Not corn, sorry. Oh, the great corn debate. Don't even start on that. I'm talking about a huge debate that we had on our forums once about the existence of corn, and never was cornfields ever mentioned, but then corn was mentioned as being eaten by one of the many minor characters. And, yeah, very, very confusing, but I think we've sort of stuck with wheat, so I think this is sort of wheat or barley, whatever you want it to be. So, yeah, again, beautiful. You've got some more tree variation here, some larger trees over there. They look almost like redwoods. I don't think they are redwoods, but they're big. Maybe sentinel pines, but that might be what they are. So, yeah, walking along. Oh, nice. We've got some apple trees over here. So you can explore this. Like, you can just keep going in that direction. You'll probably find more houses that way. But I'm sort of sticking to the path to sort of get where we're going. We've got this beautiful stream here, meandering all the way through the Vale. I know for a fact, actually, those head into some lakes. And those form sort of the pattern of crystal gleaming lakes that you find throughout the Vale, as mentioned by the books. Let's check out another one of these little houses. Lots of massive fireplaces in here. No expense spared when it comes to hearths, I guess. Cool, now we're at the base of those big trees. You can really see the scale of them. Love all of our trees on the server. I mean, I'm a little bit proud when I say that. I have not seen another server go into as much detail about building as many custom trees that are inspired on real trees, on the actual species that populate Westeros, as listed in the Citadel, which is an online resource that we use. And we've got, I might do a video on this eventually just because it's so impressive, our tree test area, which just has hundreds, if not 1,000 different kinds of trees. And we've just used that to populate Westeros. And, it's hard to sort of pick apart which trees are the same model because, of course, they're all randomly rotated, spun around, all that good stuff. It just adds to the variety, the realism of the Vale and our world. Okay, so this trip is taking a bit longer than I thought. Running out of things to talk about. Again, we're in the Vale, so in the actual middle of the Vale, so you might not see as many mountains around here because they're all around us, beyond our render distance. Let me just pick up the pace here and see if we can find the Gates of the Moon. God, I hope I'm going the right way. That'd be kind of embarrassing if I wasn't. I think we are, though, because yeah, I'm seeing more mountainous areas here on the left. See some more of those trees here. And, yeah. And we're getting to a more of a flat area here. The slopes, the bases of these mountains. Of course, the Vale has fields as well as forests. And we've tried to create a realistic ratio of open space to forested space here. Yeah, now we're getting to some of the open areas here. Great for defending against attackers, especially if you've got some men stationed up on the slopes of these mountains. If you see anyone coming down this road, you've definitely got the high ground there. Yeah, you get some of the mountains here coming up to our left. Just beautiful. I mean, I can't say enough about the terraforming of these mountains. Oh gosh, you know what? I think this... I'm going to give it a second here. Just bear with me, because I think if we keep looking, we're going to see slowly the Eyrie come into view. And it's a view worth waiting for. Again, this right now, I will check actually for you. We are at... Let's see... Yeah, we're at 8, so we are below, definitely below sea level. We're 8 blocks above bedrock, and you know, luckily we haven't gotten into the weird particle effects. But yeah, it's just a massive feat to have done this and painted this in such a way that we could achieve the effect that we wanted for the Eyrie, which was to get this massive mountain, which you can see before us here, the Giant's Lance. All around us here, this is all the same mountain. And you can start to see, actually there, you can see the lift of the castle sky, which leads up to the Eyrie. Yeah, I'm just going to dawdle around here. It's going to be a long video anyway, so forget it. I'd submit to it. I owe it to you guys anyway. I had a long break. You know, Easter holidays and all that. Ate too much chocolate. Couldn't get motivated to make these videos. I was just lying around eating chocolate, you know, standard fare. Anyway, there you can see the base of the Eyrie just coming up now. I don't even know if 16 chunks is enough to get to the top of the Eyrie. It must be. Let's see if I can get a little bit closer. You can actually see one of the great windows behind the throne room just there on the left, the little dark patch. Actually, if we go over here on the side, you might see the sky cells. Just because I won't be able to get you a good view of it later on. If we just get over here on the side. Yeah, the lifts going into the Eyrie was a huge problem because they don't really say how they work or how it works with the mountain. Really kind of tricky bit of architecture there. And so we eventually came up with this idea to have the path leading up to the Eyrie lead into this sort of mountain crevice. You can see there that dark scar in the side of the mountain. And then have the lifts go up into that tower that you see just above that scar. So that's sort of how that works. Again, we'll go into more detail about that. Okay, I think that's about as much as we're going to get rendered for the minute. We'll see more of it when we get closer to it. But yeah, just it's beautiful and stunning, and it's definitely one of my favorite builds. It's one of those things where it's not about the size of the castle. It's about the terrain and about the natural landscape around it, and the Eyrie is definitely one of those that I think we definitely hit the nail on the head. Right, let's skip along. We're going to make our way to the Gates of the Moon. The Gates of the Moon is what you might call the winter home of the Errands. When the top of the Giant's Lance gets too cold during the winter, everything gets frozen over, iced over, and it's not really habitable at that point, unless it's for emergency purposes. So the Errands sort of come down here to the Gates of the Moon, which is a castle that is larger than the Eyrie. Canon states it's a larger castle, probably because there's more room. It's on ground level. It's not on the top of this really spindly, narrow, summited mountain. So it's more spread out, more of a typical castle. One of my favorites, and because it's so beautifully done, I think the colors are really great. Again, we'll get there eventually. We will, I promise. Again, it's all about creating the distance, about creating a world in which people who eventually play in Westeros will actually feel like they've had to work. You know, by now I would have had to kill a few bandits and maybe some wildlife to get some food if I wasn't, you know, in creative mode right now. So here we've got another beautiful lake, or our first beautiful lake, really, and going into here in between these mountains. Of course, this lake being fed by a stream coming from somewhere, perhaps from the end. Right here we've got, again, the foot of the Giant's Lance. We're just making our way around through these narrow passes to try and get to the Gates of the Moon. Beautiful, this forest. Now this is more of a dense forest here. Great for ambushing. You know, if you want to hide in here with some men, probably take down anyone from the road. Oh god, do I need to split this video up into 2 parts? Jeez. Part 2.5, getting to the Gates of the Moon. Oh, there it is. Beautiful. I love I love this castle. Now, keep in mind there are some things that, since the release of A World of Ice and Fire, that we need to adjust and fix. But for the time being, we're leaving this here because we just don't want to tear it down. It's beautiful. I love the blue slate. Of course, this is a very similar palette to the Eyrie. It uses a bit more gray. And the Gates of the Moon being named so, sort of because the moon is a prominent part of the sigil of the Arryns. And you can sort of see a crescent moon just above the portcullis there. That is the flag of the Royces. The Royces who sort of are the castellans of the Gates of the Moon. The Arryns are still in direct control of it, but the Royces sort of do the housekeeping, as it were. So here we are coming into the main yard of the Gates of the Moon. So we've got a nice little stable here. Little, I should say. It was a pretty big stable. Not for horses, but for donkeys, I believe, because those are the creatures that will be used to walk up the sides of the Giant's Lance, up the path to the Eyrie. So I haven't really explored this all that much, but it's a really nice castle complex. Here we've got part of the moat now falling through this water wheel, which is built into the side of the castle, which powers a mill on the other side of that wall there. And it's just beautiful. It's so scenic. I really love the colors that have been put in here. The daub mixed in with the light stone and the cobble, and these larger gray and darker gray outlines here. I believe this must be the sept, so if we can find our way into the sept here. Oh, it's not the sept. What is this? What is this place? Again, fun times. I have no idea what's going on. Oh, that looks like something fun, and... oh, this must be the kennels. Yeah, kennels for the dogs. This is one of those castles I love because they've got everything that a castle needs. Some castles sometimes miss things here and there, but it's got everything. It's got a smithy, stables, barracks, sept, kennels, kitchens, granary. It's got a mill, for God's sake. It's got everything. It's got everything you need. Home away from home. And again, because that's important, because the Eyrie just isn't big enough to house all of those important necessities that a castle needs. Oh, this is the road up to the sept. So that's where the Gates of the Moon comes in. It's one of those little-known areas of the Eyrie. It's something people forget about, but it's something we put a lot of attention into. Wow, that is a nice little sept. Again, I love these little idols of the seven. Let's see if we can name them. The Stranger, that must be the Father, the Mother, the Maiden, the Warrior, the Smith, and the Crone. Hang on. No, that's the Crone. That's the Crone. The grey is the Crone, and that would be the Maiden for the white. We've got this beautiful, flags of the seven as well, with the seven-pointed star. Excellent stuff. And this must be the home for the Septon and the Septas. And, yeah, good stuff. Just love it. I just think there's so much to explore in this castle. And it's one of those ones you might not think to explore when you come on the server, but definitely check it out. It's got some really cool defensive capabilities, lots of cool furnishings, and I think this was one of the fastest castles ever built. I think it was built in 2 weeks by two very dedicated builders, and they did a fantastic job. And yeah, again, with those mountains in the background, it's just astounding. Awe-inspiring, I should say. Let's check out what's in here. This looks like to be some kind of hall of some kind. We've got lots of Arryn colors here going on, so this must be the lodgings of the Arryns when they come down from the Eyrie in the winter. And here we've got a nice little view over the hall from this little balcony here. Very cool. Very, very cool. God, I love Westeros. I love the Arryns. They might be one of my favorite houses. Their history is great. I mean, their time during A Song of Ice and Fire isn't illustrious. I mean, they're kind of pushovers for the most part, but they're a really cool house with a really cool castle and a really cool legacy. Definitely sort of the typical medieval fantasy style kind of region of Westeros, as is evidenced by most of the castles in the Vale. They're really high fantasy, for our standards anyway, and just beautiful to look at. Every fictional world needs something like that. And here we've got a nice little view out onto the Giant's Lance there, just outside the walls. Very, very cool. And there's part of the moat again, training away. Very, very cool. Right, so let's see if we can find the start of the path up the Giant's Lance. Probably be just around this way. We've got to get back out of here. So again, Gates of the Moon, multiple gates. So that's the first gate there. I believe that's the gate we've just come through. Oh no, actually it's not. The gate we came through is actually back here. Yeah, that's another gate. So there's 3 gates in total. There's the one out there, that's the one we came through with the drawbridge over the moat. Then there's this second one, splitting up the first and second yards. And then we've got this last one, which is the final line of defense for anyone attacking the Eyrie, as this is pretty much the only way to access the path up to the Eyrie. Okay, guys, so for our next video and our final video, we'll be traveling up the path to the Eyrie. We'll be exploring the Eyrie. But in the meantime, come and check out the Gates of the Moon. It's a build that I very much admire and adore, and will unfortunately have to be torn down eventually. So see it while it's still here. Check it out. It's a beautiful thing. And definitely check out the landscape as well. Take a walk through the Vale, see what you can find, and let me know in the comments below. So I'll see you next time for episode 47.